Well, hey everybody, I'm Scott Spiers. This is my first ever interview with Bass Gear magazine. And I not only do I think she's a fabulous up-and-coming bassist, I think, Melanie, I just think you're a legend in the making. And I'm
Sweet.
just absolutely thrilled to have you here.
Aw, thank you. Thanks for asking me.
See, if I say nice things, then people stay for the whole interview.
We're like, oh, he's gonna be nice. Okay, cool.
Hey, I'm hoping that there's at least 10,000 people that are going to see this who have no idea the year with Built the Spill. They have no idea who you is and why I'm so excited. So, could you tell us a little bit about your background? Why the bass?
Um, well, let's see. So I grew up in Nampa, Idaho, and kind of in this working class family. And my parents were always working, but they always were like they were playing classic rock all the time in our household. I would go to my dad's garage or shop and he would be playing AC/DC. I would go to my mom's office and she'd be playing Bad Company. Like just kind of that classic rock always playing in the background. And I think a lot of kids my age would reject it, but I was really into it. I got really into Pink Floyd and I got into Black Sabbath, and I don't know, I just got into a lot of bands that had really prominent bass players at a pretty young age. So I don't know why, but I just always felt like the bass was just the instrument for me. And seventh grade was when my parents got me my first bass guitar. And it was
What
a
was it?
it was a Ibanez Sound Gear,
Ah,
dark red, and it was the ones that you got the bass and a soft case and a combo amp and all the chords that came with it. I named her Xanadu because I was a really big Rush fan
yeah.
already. So yeah, and I just kind of dove into it and started learning a lot of 70s rock and roll songs, and that just kind of became part of my DNA as a bass player.
I've seen a few of your videos. Your technique really got my attention. You've got this great left hand on the neck. Lessons, or did you pick that up on yourself? How did you develop that particular?
Um, well, yeah, I did definitely get lessons. That was kind of the first thing I did. And then I was really involved academically with music too. I
Okay.
got into jazz ensemble and I joined marching band and orchestra, and I did all of it just because I really wanted to immerse myself in it and just learn anything I could. But I got really into orchestra and I started playing the upright bass as well. So that left hand technique, nowadays I rarely use my third finger, and it's
The
because,
Simandl method, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So because I use the upright so much, it kind of translates now into the way that I play electric.
I had a feeling you were classically trained, but then your right hand is like almost straight John Entwistle. You just pound it. It's like when I watch you, you've got that gleam in your eye, and you're just waiting for that chance where you can dig in.
Yep.
Do
It's
you ever?
funny. I tried sometimes I really try not to sound like John Entwistle, but it's just like that style again. It's just part of my DNA. Like I just can't deny it anymore, I guess. Yeah, it's just part of my personality, I guess, as a bass player.
Here's a trick question for you: who are your top bass players? But they can't be Geddy Lee, they can't be Victor Wooten, and they can't be Geezer Butler.
Um, well, right now, because it changes, right?
Hmm.
I really love Laura Leasy from Krungbin. I think she is a fantastic bass player who really knows how to lead a song harmonically. Because if you listen to Krung Bin, she's kind of the one who's moving the song along. It's not the bass following the guitar. She's the one who's moving. And yeah, I just think her style is it's really beautiful and simplistic and very tasteful, which is hard sometimes as a bass player to find what is tasteful and what does that song really need. She's just brilliant at it. Another bass player is Esperanza Spalding. I've always argued that she is the greatest living bass player alive. She just has a lot to say artistically, and her technique. I mean, she can play anything electric and upright, and she writes really just amazing, beautiful, inventive music. A third? I don't know if I can think of a third. Right now, I mean, I've always loved him. I really love Lou Barlow from Dinosaur Jr. I've been learning a lot from him lately, listening to his music.
Nice choice there. I like that. You just kind of snuck that in there for Gen X.
Yeah, that's kind of my life right now.
Oh yeah. How in the world did you end up with a legendary band like Built to Spill?
Well, I've been playing in bands, different bands in the Boise music scene for a long time. I was in a band called Marshall Pool, and I was in that band when I was like 16. We played together for, I think, like 9, almost 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And within the later part of it, I noticed that Doug was coming to our shows, and we played a show with one of his friends, and he attended. And because in Boise it's really cool, like a lot of the musicians just really encourage each other, and we go to each other's shows, and we have like a solid community. So I kind of knew Doug in passing, just seeing him at different shows and just saying hi, but I didn't really know him. But he saw Marshall Poole play, and I guess he really liked the way that I played and performed. And one day he emailed me and asked me if I could chat with him on the phone, and we talked on the phone, and later I met up with him for lunch, and he just asked me flat out, he's like, "Do you want to play bass for Built to Spill?" And I was really shocked, but I was just, I was also really honored because we didn't know each other super well, but I was honored that he could just already see that I had potential just from seeing me perform. So it was very flattering that someone like him believed in me so quickly. And then we started practicing, and things started going really well, and yeah.
And you've been gigging actively with them, right?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. So I don't know how often you go on to Reddit. I mean, I do if I take certain precautionary measures, like because it's Reddit. The fan base is going nuts for you, and I believe they also have Did you bring along the new drummer?
I didn't bring her along, but she's in a band called Prison Bitch, and
I'm actually familiar with that band.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. Yeah, they're incredible. They have been opening for Built to Spill for a little while, and I think Doug just became really familiar with her drumming and was really impressed by her, and I think he kind of maybe subconsciously wanted an all-female backing band just for a new chapter with Built to Spill, and so I think that's why he really wanted me and Teresa to join. And then me and Teresa became really good friends just from like our involvement with playing each other in Built to Spill.
Where I found you is in this little band called Blood Lemon. Mm-hmm. How did that? Cause I've been waiting for this for a year. How in the world because there are some bands that when they come together, I'm not going to embarrass you by mentioning Cream or Mountain or any of those old. But these three individuals come together, and it's like magic. And that's my response to Blood Lemon since the first time I heard you. Can you tell us a little bit how that happened?
Um, so, gosh, it was around the time that I joined Built to Spill. I just really wanted to play in a band with my friends. Just two ladies that I loved and respected very much. Lisa is in another band called Finn Riggins, and they're kind of this legendary Boise band. And I always kind of looked up to her growing up. And I knew Lindsay from playing in a band called Mostly Muff, which Lisa was always in. Um, and we just knew each other again from the scene and kind of got to know each other. And I was talking to a friend of mine. I was talking to Ivy from another band called the French Tips, which are also a fantastic Boise band. And I was just telling her about that idea. Like, I'd love to just play with two women and maybe two of like women that I know. And I don't know how to get started. I don't know how to do, you know. And she was like, I think Lisa's like looking to start another project. And at first I was like, there's no way she would want to play with me. That's crazy, you know. And I guess Ivy mentioned it to Lisa. And then I was like a couple days later, I got a text from Lisa and was like, hey, I heard you want to start a band and I'm very interested. And I was like, oh, shit. So
What
we
have I
met.
done?
Yeah. So we met up at a coffee shop and just talked about like concepts and the type of music that we were looking to play. And we both just really wanted to play something that was that recalled that 90s RiotGirrrl and 90s alternative kind of vibes, but we also really wanted to play with heavy riffs too, um, and incorporate that in a way. Um, and yeah, we were just totally on the same page and had similar influences. And Lisa thought of Lindsay, and we got together. And I think the first song that we played together, because we wanted to get covers together just to get to know each other's styles and if we were going to mesh okay. And we decided to play like a handful of covers. And the first song that we played together was Do You Love Me Now by the Breeders. And as soon as we started playing the song together, all of us were like, oh, this feels great. Like it just felt really good. And I love playing with those two ladies. They're just
It
my
shows.
best friends. And it's just fun. It's like getting together and having like a therapy session before practice. Like we just talk and vent and then we play and it just feels really good.
Now, I heard rumor that there might be another release on the horizon.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a EP. We recently recorded with David Ketching and John Russo at Rancho de la Luna.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
wow.
we had a blast there. They were just amazing people, and we just knew that they would kind of take our sound a little bit further in terms of like heaviness. And yeah, we just had a really good time in Joshua Tree, and so we're hoping to get an EP released later this year.
Do you self-release or do you have label backing? What's your status there?
No, we self-release.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most excellent. So we do have stuff coming up. I just can't wait to hear some of your new stuff. Let's talk a little bit about gear. Like, what is your number one? This is the bass that you're going to use, that you use until you die. Do you have one?
Um, well, one bass that I keep using, especially for Built to Spill shows, I use a Ernie Ball Music Man Sterling Classic, and I love it. It's really punchy. It has really good definition. but it could also blend very well. And there's mutes that I can turn on for certain styles. I don't really use the mutes for Built to Spill very much, but yeah, it's kind of worked out the best with that band. So I've just kind of stuck with that bass for a long time now. I think people are starting to kind of know me for it. It's the Apathy Kills bass. Yeah, it's been my go-to bass now for a few years.
I've never owned one, but I have. I just love that tone. You can get really burpy, or you can finger a little bit further up the neck and get a deeper, almost a P bass growl if you dig in enough.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what about amps? First time I saw you, you were sporting a little Darkglass combo, which, as a Stoner Doom guy, I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna want to listen to this.
Yeah, I love Darkglass. I want them to sponsor me.
Hey,
They just make really good products that last a long time. And one of the things with Built to Spill is like we have kind of a working class punk ethos where we don't really have crew members when we tour. We do everything ourselves. So
does anybody have roadies except for Guns N' Roses? Because they're cool.
yeah,
I haven't
right.
seen a band, have a road crew in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's a way to save money for sure. And that's what we do. And so when you're loading in like huge heavy amps all the time, after sleeping in a bus or a van or whatever, you just kind of want it to be easier on your back. And so I really like Darkglass cabs. Yeah, because they use the neodymium speakers. So the magnets are significantly lighter. So their cabs are so light. And I just travel with like a 212 cab of theirs. And I use a Mesa Subway D800 for the amp. It's very versatile. And I haven't needed anything else besides that because it has like a good EQ, and I work really closely with our sound engineer for Built to Spill, Lawrence. We work really closely and just make sure we're together on tone and what I'm looking for and what he's looking for. And that's just been my go-to for touring.
I'm assuming direct out to the front of house.
Yeah, direct out and mic'd. I like both. Yeah, a blend.
You do mic on stage.
Yes.
A rare breed.
Yeah. Yeah, I like both. I like to have both options, and Lawrence blends the two.
Okay. So I assume no in-ear monitors. You're relying on stage monitors?
For Blood Lemon, stage volume and monitors, but for Built to Spill, we actually use in-ear monitors.
Civilized. I hear it's easier on your hearing in the long run, except you don't get to hear, like back when I was a kid, I loved my bell bottoms. I'd stand in front of the amp and they'd flop. You don't get that with in-ears.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can.
Now, I'm pretty sure you're not married to a strictly clean tone. Do you like bass effects at all?
Yeah, I use some distortion depending on the gig. Right now, I use a lot of like a bass soul food for just a little bit more aggression. And I have like different fuzzes that I like to use, but that's kind of like my main distortion that I've been using.
Okay, fuzzes. What do you got? What do you like? I perk up as soon as I hear bass fuzz.
There is a acoustic series fuzz replica that I've been using. And there's also, again, Darkglass. I got really into their Alpha Omega Ultra preamp that has a distortion and fuzz attached to it. You can make it really fuzzy anyway, and I like the tone that comes from that as well. And I use that more in recording purposes.
Recording direct into the board, or are you so old school that you actually mic a cab and make the engineer work for it?
Both again. Again, I like the blend of the two. Yeah, it's hard, right, to find that full body tone and then something with definition too, you know? I definitely have the mind of getting as much sonically as you possibly can and then narrowing it down afterwards for recording.
The most exciting pedal on the planet. Do you have a favorite compression, or do you rely on what you have in the Mesa Boogie?
I actually use the Darkglass compression pedal. Again, Darkglass. Um,
We'll see if we can get their attention.
yeah. Yeah, they have a 3-in-1 compression pedal, and it's great. I haven't had to use anything else. And I don't compress too much, but it just gives it that just enough compression. So, especially for Blood Lemon stuff where I'm playing like long, heavy riffs and I need to be able to hold the tone out for a long time. That stuff, it's the best.
And without drowning out Lisa and her poor little, she uses a really small cab. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, now she uses she uses a small orange combo amp now, but I forget the name of what it is. Yeah, she just totally pushes a small amp, and it's great just to run it and really blast it, you know, even though it's a small amp. And that's the thing too, again, is when you're touring, I don't know, they mic those amps, they set stuff up on stage, so you really don't have to have like those huge cabs, you know.
Agreed. And yeah, my Ampeg refrigerator days are way behind me. So,
Yeah.
and thank God we have good modern gear, and that's also something I had a feeling that you were pretty in tune. Also, you seem to be using the same gear for recording and stage.
For the most part, the thing with recording for me is I kind of like to use whatever is around. I just think it's more interesting and it captures the moment more. I'm really fascinated by recording artists who record at home and just make do with the things that they have. For live, I'm pretty picky, but for recording, I think it's important to try to be versatile and to, again, work with what you have, because like there's so many options, especially for recording. It can get really overwhelming. So it's been really fun to just kind of learn how to make simple things work.
Okay. And then the last piece of gear, I'm always curious, any particular brand of strings, and do you like high tension, low tension, balance? What do you have going on there?
High tension. I've been using Ernie Ball for a little while. I really like Roto Sound, again, with the John Entwistle thing. Yeah, they just have like a really good thumpiness that you can tap into.
The best description of Blood Lemon I ever heard, I think it came from Lisa, is if you have Sleater Kinney next to Sleep in your CD collection, this is the band for you. How would you describe it? Because I really think that I understand the RiotGirrrl history and all this, but this is just a fantastic American hard rock band with intense psychedelic, intense effects, really super aggressive playing. Well, I guess I just described it. How would you describe it?
Yeah. Well, so first, that quote actually came from a publication. It was the AV Club that actually wrote about us. And when we read that, we're like, yes, they get it, you know. And that's the thing is like, oh, it's so hard to put things into context so much. But like, I think we really like to write psychedelic and pop rock songs like at its base, but then just kind of recall doom too, respectfully.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of been our thing, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't with people. We kind of cover like a wide range of that like classic and psychedelic rock side, but it's the slow, more sludgier, more earth-like tones that I think we either gain more fans or we kind of lose people too. It's very weird. It's always been like a weird thing for our band because like we're right on that line. I remember there was one guy, because we were working with a radio syndicate and sending our album out to different radio stations, and then people would give us our feedback back to the band. And there was one radio guy who loved Burned, and it's a song that starts off like kind of just like a typical like rock and roll song, fast, and then near the middle of it or near the end of it, it goes super slow, super sludgy, like dirge kind of riffs. No vocals, just riffs. And, you know, he loved that song and he loved how fast paced it was and the change of it. But then we sent him, next was the next single, and it was Black Capped Cry. And it is like, it's super slow, but it has its riffs there and slow vocals. And the music is way more earth, the bees made honey from the lion's skull kind of vibe. Nice
reference there.
And well, yeah, I mean, like it was a huge influence on that album, at least for me. I remember the radio guy heard it and he was just like, I don't understand. He's like, you had this song and then now you come out with this, and like it's so slow. It's so slow. And it's like some people just don't get it. You know, like they just don't like hear that bridge, you know, unless you maybe are familiar with both styles or you're already familiar with the doom style. And I think that's kind of the purpose of our band, is to be that gap, to bridge that gap, and to kind of bring more people to doom and like these other kind of concepts of slow, dirgy metal and rock, you know, because I just don't feel like there's enough people who know about it or maybe feel like it's for them. And our band just wants to bridge that gap so more people can be together on it, if that makes sense.
No, totally. I come at it from a different angle. Coming from the doom world brings a lot of doom fans into other bands that they otherwise wouldn't have paid attention to.
Oh, that's
and
great.
Not all that is heavy dooms.
Yes.
That's
yeah, exactly. Totally.
Whoa. Oh, yeah, I should
There
probably
you go.
end it there.
Got to remember that
Melanie,
one.
this was everything I could ask for. I can't thank you enough.
Well,
just-
thanks again.
I'm hoping you all think of me and my other channel, Clean and Sober Stoner, when the EP comes out. I would love to do a pre-release interview and see if we can get the word out on who I think is probably the most interesting band in the country right now.
Yeah, of course. We'll definitely hit you up for sure. Thank you so much, Scott.
Thank you, and I can't wait to talk to you again.
Yay.